Alright, welcome back. Hope everyone's having a lovely day, a lovely night, wherever you're from. And real quick, before we get started, as always, I want to give a lovely shout out to the channel members on this channel. So thank you so much to these lovely commanders here that you see on screen. Thank you guys so much for your guys' generosity and your support. It really means a lot to me, so thank you so much. And if you're actually interested in becoming a lovely commander yourself, if you are interested in any of these cute and lovely emotes, the loyalty crown badges, if you want a special role in the Discord, make sure to join the Discord. But as always, if you choose to do so, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And like I always like to say, just watching the content like you are right now is truly the best way that you can support me. Liking, subscribing, commenting, everything really does help. So thank you guys. And for today's video, just like the title says, this is probably going to be my last Zwei video after the tier list. There's really not much else to talk about her, especially with the whole, up and coming collab and stuff. We got more to talk about. And in regards to Zwei, it's kind of weird. Like I've already mentioned, just like when we started with maintenance, her banner already got overshadowed because of this whole collab with the teasers and everything. And with this type of video, I always like to break down the should you pull into 3 categories. I like to break down income and timing, talk about the waifu aspect, which is subjective, but I always like to talk about it, and then also talking about the meta aspect. So first things first, when we're talking about, income, real quick, let's head on over to the recruit banners. And we're talking about income. If you're low right now, if you're not sure what you have, if you need a save, honestly, she is a standard character that's going to go into the standard pool, so she can be added to the wish list. So even on that basis alone, with the collab coming up, I wouldn't even be pulling for her. Now, we still have other banners you can go for, and I rather, if you're debating on who to go for, you're better off just going for Summer Anise. Summer Anise is the best pick right now in terms of the banners right now, so you're better off getting her while while you still can. That being said, though, when we talk about, the timings and stuff, even if you don't plan to pull for the collab and you just want to pull for Zwei, then, go for it if you want to. Because I know some people are excited for the collab, some people aren't. If you're not going to pull in the collab, then, you don't have to pull in the collab. And you can just save all those extra free pulls for the future. But one thing I always like to mention when it comes to this is that the wishlist system is never guaranteed. Let's just talk about my loss of D-Killer wife. Very unfortunate, but it's okay. I'll have to live with it, unfortunately. But other than that, when we talk about the waifu aspect for Zwei, I've always said I loved her design, I love her character, but one thing I have to say is that her personality in the colorless event has really, warmed up to me even more. I like how timid she is. I love her voice, I love how shy she is, but I love how smart she is. How willing she is, to try to cover for everybody and stuff. It really it means a lot, especially for this type of character. And I love her armor that she has, combined with her unique weapons. I think it's badass in my opinion. So I personally like it, and I love her color scheme. I love her red eyes. Once again, I'm a sucker for red, so whenever we get Rouge, I'm gonna have to get Rouge. MLB Rouge is gonna have to happen. I don't care. Even if she's as bad as Neon, we're gonna have to get Rouge. I don't care. That's just what's gonna happen. But in terms of waifu, whether you like her design or not, something that I always like to talk about is whether that character resonates with you or not. And I think that's really important. So if you play the colorless event and you feel like, wow, this character's pretty cool, then go pull for him if you want to or not, Because in terms of fan service, I think she looks badass. I think she looks cool. She has omega thighs, but in terms of fan service, it's just kind of on the same position as Ein. We're not going to get as much of a tease like we did with Naga. I feel like Naga was a really good balance, honestly. But I still think she looks really cool. And I love her personality, so on that basis alone, I definitely pulled. Now, if that's not enough for you, then I totally understand, because waifus, is all subjective in the end. So, you do what you want. But in terms of, the meta, her kit is iffy. Now, we've already seen her tier list ranking. Almost B's, some A's, It is what it is. The biggest thing that if you really want to invest in her is definitely her skill 1 and her burst. The reason for this is because her burst, her damage is similar in, not damage, but her burst is similar to Maxwell. Not only that, but it does have piercing. And her skill 1 just really is the only focus here, because that pierce damage buff is good, honestly. And she could pair really well with the Snow White Maxwell team. The biggest problem, though, is trying to get her crit rate on time right here for her skill 2. Because when it comes down to her skill 2, it only lasts for 5 seconds, and because of how long Snow White's burst, takes, you could miss that crit opportunity. So be aware you're going to need overload lines for that. In terms of anything else, though, if we're trying to talk about whether she's viable in Elysion Tower, honestly, not really. Because right now, in Elysion Tower, we really don't have anybody that takes advantage of piercing. Obviously, we have D-Killer Wife, but D-Killer Wife is another Burst 1 support. And to have both of them together would be meaningless. So, it's really not viable. So if you have D-Killer Wife in the Elysion Tower, then just use her. But if you don't have D-Killer Wife, arguably, I think Miranda is still better. Just on the fact that Miranda doesn't really have like this like only piercing niche. Like, she's not great, but at least like hit rate goes up, affects all allies, crit damage goes up, attack goes up, crit damage, you know. There's nothing really niche about her. It's just like not that, it's just alright. So I feel like Miranda's still better off because at least she helps other Nikkes rather than just the specific niche that's not even in the tower. And I think that's a shame, honestly. I feel like Elysion really needs a good tower. Nikke especially, because Elysion is hard for that tribe tower. But I wouldn't say, you know, obviously she's not like meta or anything for Zwei, but she's not the worst character. I think she'll have some usage. I know some people want to cope that maybe we're going to get some new piercing units with the Evangelion collab. We'll have to see, because I would love to see someone be able to pair with her, or even pair more with my Laplace. And I just want to say, as shitty as these treasures are, I just want to say, this looks cool. I didn't even know about this until like before I recorded. This looks awesome. But I love this. I think this is one of my favorite wallpapers. It's badass. But, you know, meta-wise, she's not really worth pulling for. You're probably better off just putting her in the wish list, or if you're coping for the collab, you know, maybe get one copy, but nothing more. Other than that, though, that's going to be it for me. This is kind of a short one because there's not much to talk about. But I just want to say I hope you guys have a lovely day, a lovely night, wherever you're from. And thank you guys for the constant support. We're getting closer to 1,300 subs. Without you guys, that wouldn't happen. So thank you so much. You guys are the best. Take care.